Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. In today's program, we are going to discuss about the world's largest democratic exercise, the Indian elections and its outcomes, and who is going to govern India for the next 5 years, who is going to form the new government in India. As we speak, the results are pouring in. There are also reports that these results, which were expected to be completed by early evening, are delayed. We'll try to take the analysis why there is a delay as far as the completion of these results is also concerned. Now, regarding what exactly these outcomes or the results that have been relayed so far, the picture that they are giving is entirely different from the picture that was seen during the exit polls. Exit polls had predicted an overwhelming majority of the Bharatiya Janata Party and its alliance, which it is part of, that is known as the National Democratic Alliance. This time around, there has been a tough resistance on the part of the main opposition alliance that is known as India, which is of course led by Indian National Congress. We'll also try to understand the kind of confidence the Bharatiya Janata Party, its Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the alliance it is part of were showing before and during the elections, that they are going to have a thumping victory this time around. But on the contrary, the picture is very different. What were the reasons before the elections or during the elections that has led to a different picture this time around? What sort of an impact that difference, if it is made, is going to have on the internal politics of India in future, also on the regional dynamics regarding the peace and security in South Asia, and also when we specifically talk about Pakistan's relations with India. Let me share quickly what is the trend that we can see through different international media outlets. The National Democratic Alliance, which is of course led by Bharatiya Janata Party, it is seen as leading in 290 plus seats. Now, when we talk about the opposition, main opposition alliance, India, led by Indian National Congress, it is leading in over 230 seats. Now, to form a government, out of 543 total seats of the Lok Sabha, or the lower house of the parliament in India, a political party needs to have 272 seats. This time around, before the elections and during the elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party said that it would grab over 400 seats. Is it going to be a possibility? Because the trends are completely otherwise. Many saying that this time around, Bharatiya Janata Party is not even going to grab 272 seats alone. So it has to depend on the allies to form a government. Regarding Congress, we have seen a considerable improvement in the performance of Indian National Congress and its allies as well. Also, when we talk about the possibility of Indian National Congress and its alliance, would it be able to form the government? What suits the Congress the most if it gets ample number of seats? Should it be going to form a government with its allies, or should it be sitting in the opposition and form a strong opposition to give a tougher time to Bharatiya Janata Party? Now, also, during the course of this particular release of the election results, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has made very important statements, saying the opposition fight was not just against the Bharatiya Janata Party, but to save the country's constitution, which the Bharatiya Janata Party government had tried to destroy, unquote. Let me quickly bring in our esteemed panel of guests to understand the entire dynamics, what happened exactly to that very aspiration of Bharatiya Janata Party, that it would be taking away over 400 seats out of 543 seats during this Lok Sabha election. But the picture is quite opposite to that. Dr. Awais bin Wasi, he is Indian Affairs expert. Dr. Wasi, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Also in the studio, we are honored to have been joined by Dr. Waleed Rasool, he is Foreign Affairs expert. Dr. Rasool, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. on Skype at the same time. We are honored to have been joined by Dr. Jamil Khan. He's former ambassador. Dr. Khan, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Dr. Wasi, now what are the trends saying as far as the reports which are available with me right now? Over 290 seats. The National Democratic Alliance is leading, led by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Talking about the India Alliance, 230 plus seats. Also, it was expected that the election results would be complete by early evening. Is there any unnecessary delay, and why is that so?
This delay that that is taking place now, I think that it reminds me quote by Stalin that those who count the vote, they in fact the people, they are the people that who decide everything. And it is true in case of India that there was a lot of concerns about voting machine earlier, and election commission itself when its formation occurred, when it was constituted. So if you see this delay, keeping in view these concerns and these speculations surrounding with the Election Commission of India, I think that there is something fishy, there is some problem here, and we need to, you know, as Congress has submitted a memorandum, just, you know, Congress leader to the Election Commission of India to ascertain the reasons behind this delay. But I think that if we contextualize this whole phenomenon, so I think we should go back to this Constitution of Election Commission of India, and this when it was formed earlier. It was you know, according to Indian Constitution, it was a practice that the incumbent government they would hold elections, and they constitute that Election Commission of India. But with the Modi at the helm of affairs, there were some concerns, there was some speculation, there were some doubts about it. That is why that some opposition leaders, they went to the Supreme Court to have a verdict, and Supreme Court gave that verdict that there should be a 3-member committee panel to decide the 2 election commissioner. One should be the chief election, the leader of the House, leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. But later on, what happened is in December 2023, that there was a law that got enacted, and in that law, that you know, set aside the Supreme Court verdict and removed this 3rd member, Chief Justice of India, and in place of that, Union Minister of India was included into that. So with this formation, this skewed formation, and 2/3 members with the BJP, I think
your point is well taken, Dr. Wasi. Now, but that of course it is the questions on the credibility of the Election Commission of India. When we talk about the electronic voting machines, once the voter has cast his vote, that goes into the record, right? So whichever candidate or the political party is actually gone for voting for, so these electronic voting machines record that, right? On 4th of June, that record was going to be made public, if I am correct.
Yes,
is
sure.
that how the electronic voting machine works?
Exactly, that should have been.
So how the Election Commission of India could delay the results because the record is already there? How could that record be manipulated once it is recorded in the EVM?
There was another, you know, if you go to the technical side, there was another 3rd machine that has been entered in electronic voting machine. And when the insertion of the third machine and then transfer of the data to laptop or to other devices, about that there were concerns raised in Indian media, and some people that they have written it. I've recently come across an article titled as Modi's Mechanician. It was extensively discussed about it, that there are chances of manipulation. There are, and it seems true what is happening now, that ideally there should have been immediately the result announcement.
Okay.
You know, so it means that if
website
is not being opened,
okay,
if the result is not being updated, despite you know, their claims that the result would be immediately announced and by evening it would be made public. But that is not the case.
Is there any possibility that the entire system could be overwhelmed because of the flow of the traffic coming from all parts of India? Is that a possibility?
No, that could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. But given the, if we cannot see that thing divorcing from the earlier debate surrounding the electronic voting machine and other things. If we look at from that context, so I think that that concern has merit. And
your point is valid. Dr. Rasool, is manipulation of the result doable at this point in time through the electronic voting machines once the voting has been recorded?
Definitely, machines are made by men and they can manipulate it. For example, when you are saying that there is possibility of the overloading, it is not. You will create just 542 separate emails and transfer the data.
Right.
It is not that the era you have to put a big load, then you have to transfer it, not at all. Number one, if you will do the comparison between manual voting and the electronic voting, even within the manual voting in Pakistan, what you do, you count the votes on the constituency, on the support, on the same polling booth. Then you just transfer the total number in this booth has been transferred to the Election Commission of the Pakistan. But when you are talking about the electronic machine, it is just a matter of the clicks. It is already counted. When you have put your fingers, it is counted, and result is in front of you. It is not possible. It is simply a statecraft, and you have an edge to manipulate the things properly. For example, you can say the pre-polling manipulation is in New Delhi. Now, New Delhi entire seats are in the BJP grab. Same is the situation with the West Bengal. West Bengal BJP is leading. Okay, these manipulations had worked in favor of Modi, because in statecraft you are doing everything what will favor you. That is actually how power works.
Right, you just talked about West Bengal. There are 42 seats over there, right?
Yeah.
So BJP is leading in 19, while the Trinamool National Congress is leading in 22.
BJP was always behind in West Bengal, was the strong of this strong opposition of the BJP, and same was the situation in the New Delhi. New Delhi is now totally entire seats, BJP is leading in entire seats. Same is the situation with the Karnataka, ex-Mysore, BJP is leading, and it has been never a trend in South India that BJP was having any say. So you see there is something is fishy, something is absolutely clear, and Indian voters must know it. It is not something that we will say that machines are overloaded. It is absurd.
Okay, keeping that particular factor for a moment aside, isn't it surprising the kind of trend that we are seeing right now, the kind of claim that had been, or the aspiration that has been expressed by Bharatiya Janata Party before and during the elections was grabbing around 400 seats, more than 400. But this time around, so far the results suggest that they aren't able to even go closer by 272 alone, and perhaps they might have to rely more on the allies to form a government if that could be the case.
I have put this Indian elections in detail in the ISSI Indian elections post debate, and my apprehensions are very clear that BJP will return power, despite you say that she might not get the absolute majority, but she will get the simple majority.
She will get the majority. I'll come back to you. Let me bring in Ambassador Khan into the discussion also. Ambassador Khan, the trends, are these trends surprising for you as far as the election results of the Indian election is concerned? Because we saw during the election campaign and the kind of promises or the kind of factors on which Bharatiya Janata Party tried to capitalize on. Do you see a surprising trend this time around and a considerable improvement in the performance of Indian National Congress? Ambassador Khan, please unmute yourself, kindly. Ambassador Khan, we can't hear you properly.
Yeah, remarkable.
Please go ahead.
Remarkable performance by the Congress, and remarkable performance by Rahul Gandhi. I've monitored some of his speeches and campaign during his campaign, how he has been campaigning and how he's been engaging. with the voters and supporters in the crowd. The crowds, if we monitor, his crowds in many respects, at many places were much bigger and much larger than the crowd which was projected by all the media with different camera tricks and with different media covering tricks. But despite that, Rahul this time has performed, and Rahul during the campaign had fallen ill for some time. If he had not, then perhaps the results would have been even better. So from that standpoint, yes, it's about 600 million people voted, which is again really something which has to be acknowledged. And out of 1 billion almost registered voted. 44 days of this election, 7 phases. So this is, as you said, the largest democracy, but I would call it the largest now in last 10 years, in Modi's time, the largest authoritarian democracy of the world. And it's here that what was discussed by our other two panelists, I could now build my argument on that, that is there any apprehension of manipulation to whatever scale? Yes, we cannot rule out the possibility, because Modi, if there could be a manipulation at the highest court level, apex court level, then the manipulation at other levels like the election, although their election commission is quite robust and their previous performance has been acknowledged by various election monitors and the external election monitoring teams. But the way Modi had developed its trend, the way Modi had established his authoritarian democracy, the way he has been crushing the minority, the way he has been crushing the opposition. So from that standpoint, if we see that the election, although the counting started at 8, but the EVM results were being seen from 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Even the postal ballots were not opened until 8, although it was supposed to be. Now, the present situation, the figures you have already given, but the latest figure which I have got is 254 total seats. The leading, where all the parties together are 254 out of 543, and the total seat which has been won so far is 289 out of 553. So from that standpoint, there's 155 BJP. Once I monitored, now it's of course it has increased. The BJP has now, but BJP as a party by itself, not alliance, is 55, 155, almost along that line. And Congress alliance is 118, and others are 16. So altogether 289. So still, there are about 270, 275 seats. Results are being awaited. There could be some surprises, but now the trend, the way which we are seeing, it appears Modi would have a very slim majority as compared to sweeping majority, which was anticipated. But in the exit polls and the stock markets had gone much higher. The rupee dollar parity had gone higher. From this morning onward, the rupee parity with the Indian rupee parity with dollars had gone down. The stock markets have gone down. The bond premium has gone higher. So obviously these financial market people, they are the one, they really monitor it quite well, and they are the one, they know the sensitivity of it. So it appears Modi with its alliance, with Modi alliance and NDP, so that would gain a very slim majority. What that is, does it imply? Now, NDA, as probably you also mentioned, 296 almost, and India Alliance 230, and total is seats 543. So we'll have to really wait for some more results. But the trend, at least we can see, and it has been supported by the financial, the argument is being supported by the financial market sentiments, the way it's going. BJP in various constituencies have gone neck to various states have gone neck to neck. In fact, including Himachal Pradesh, the competition was very tough. Rahul, during his the election campaign, had really incorporated some of the points in his manifesto and has been uh, putting it across to the people at large. And one of them, which became very popular, that all the household female member, the head of household, and particularly the female member, would get 100,000 per person in India. And he was comparing it that the Modi benefited only 25 families, and he had a whole lot of a figure which he has been mentioning it during his engagement of the election campaign in front of the crowd. And he gained popularity, in fact, not only for these two the slogans, but also his articulation and the way he was engaging. Modi had conducted with all the support and with all the might of the government, with all the media support and manipulation and pressure on media. He conducted about 200 rallies and processions and convention, whereas Rahul and his allies, the India allies, they were short of that. They could not really, because the government has been bringing a lot of impediments on the election campaign of the opposition. So if we have these factors in our mind, then if Modi forms the government, which it appears that he would, but this time he would not look to be as strong, because the expectation of BJP and Modi alliance was altogether different, sweeping election. So we perhaps would not see that confidence and that kind of oppression which he has been imposing, because now he'll have a strong opposition. And the way he's been bulldozing previously, it would be very hard for him to really bulldoze that. Now, even Uttar Pradesh, yes, it was ideologically divided. There was an ideological battle, and a broader ideological battle. It went on between BJP and Indian alliance. So this context reflects by itself a deep political and social divide in the country, but most of it was in the rural areas. In the urban areas, there were some mixed feelings also, and BJP were able to really gain grounds in certain areas which were supposed to be totally divided and polarized.
Ambassador Khan, you just talked of the UP this time around. When we compare as to the results of the elections back in 2019, out of the total seats there in Uttar Pradesh, Bharatiya Janata Party was able to grab the 62 seats, with 2 seats of its alliance, making it in total 64 for the alliance it was part of. Now, when we talk about this time, the trend this time around so far suggests that Bharatiya Janata Party was leading only in 36 seats so far as the result that has been relayed so far. And when we talk about the Samajwadi Party, it has been able to grab more traction this time around. And we have also seen a considerable improvement in the performance of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh. Also, most surprisingly, the Faizabad constituency, which is home to the Ram temple in Ayodhya, the Bharatiya Janata Party is trailing, is behind in that particular constituency also. What sense that makes to you?
No, there are 2 points there. One, that the Congress party was able to propel their point of view in those areas, and they were able to dilute that radical kind of a feeling which was created by Bharatiya Janata Party. So that is one, and I must say that the campaigner and the Congress members and those who engaged in this area, they did it quite well. Secondly, the oppression by itself, uh, it, it can bring silence for some time, but subsequently, once it comes to vote, people, they have their own free will to exercise. So my own understanding is that there was these, that, as I said, authoritarian democracy, in which oppression was one of the tools which Modi and his party, and particularly supported by, not only supported, but spearheaded by the RSS. So that had really brought some kind of fear among the minds and hearts of the people. So once they got a chance to demonstrate their own free will, they did that, and that's why, in
Your
my
point is
view,
well taken.
you
Ambassador Khan,
find
now
that there is a
moving on to our next very important point, is there any sort of a possibility when we talk about the chances of the Indian National Congress perhaps forming the new government? Because the alliance, the NDA, the National Democratic Alliance that is leading in around over 290 plus seats, it also has two parties which were formerly with the Congress, and they entered into alliance into NDA just some time before the elections were commenced. They are the Telugu Desam party, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, that is leading in 16 seats, on the 16 seats, and the Janata Dal United, it is leading on 14. Collectively, they are making around 30 seats. So we have also seen that Rahul Gandhi has also hinted that perhaps he could enter into negotiations or talks with these two political parties also. Could there be a possibility it could serve as a setback to Bharatiya Janata Party if these two parties break away from the NDA and enter into India Alliance?
well, it all depends because now once these two parties they find that Rahul Gandhi would be in a position to form the government, then there could be all the possibilities and probabilities that the parties revert back to the Congress party. So yes, such parties, smaller parties, they definitely look into the interest of their own voter and supporter and interest of their party, and that's the reason. So if they have that chance of bringing the balance or disturbing the balance of the total number of seats, then obviously they would go for their benefit. So if they get that much of benefit from Congress, then they don't have any love lost for the BJP, and in that case, it could be a Congress. But let's see about remaining 275 or 80 seats, the results on that. If it continues the way it is, with a thin majority and with these two parties getting more strength, then in that case, this very probabilities cannot be ruled out, and this very possibility cannot be ruled out. But there could be higher chances of this because the Congress party, the way it has shown its performance this time, it appears that these two parties can consider going back. And,
Dr. Jamil Khan, former ambassador, thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Dr. Wasi, what happened in Uttar Pradesh in particular? When we talk about the previous trend in Uttar Pradesh, there was a considerable strength the Bharatiya Janata Party got, alone grabbing 62 out of 80 seats. And it's considered one of the ideological strongholds for Bharatiya Janata Party, and it was expected this time around they're going to have a thumping victory from this particular state also, but they are leading only on 36 seats. What went wrong in that particular ideological stronghold?
Yes, this is a massive blow to BJP's expectations and what BJP was in fact trying to sell in Uttar Pradesh. If you see the previous election, 2019, so BSP and Bojan Samaj Party and Bojan Party both, they stitched alliance together and they contested jointly. And despite their, though they have always been, despite the fact that they have always been at loggerheads, at each other, but still they contested and they managed to get 15 seats out of 80 and 64, as you have rightly pointed out. Reasons, as those who have a close eye on Indian elections, especially in UP, they are of the view this is the reaction of youth, because youth didn't buy this plank what Modi government or BJP that they tried to sell over there, and that was that Ram Mandir and this Hindutva narrative. So that was not bought by the youth, and they were more concerned about employment. They were more concerned about their dignified living. They were more concerned about the living in an honorable life. So I think that that is one of the major reasons that caused this massive blow. to BJP, and because this is the state in terms of number largest that it sends 80 members to the House of 543. So this massive blow, perhaps it's irreparable to the larger victory or whatever the number BJP gets. So as you have also alluded to that Faizabad constituency also. This is also very ironical that the very place in which Modi in fact inaugurated, although it was not ready, that building was not
and during
ready.
that very inauguration, politics was very much part and parcel of the kind of narrative Bharatiya Janata Party, and also at that particular inauguration when Narendra Modi was trying to sell to the public at that particular moment, trying to have a clear divide between who attended that inauguration ceremony and who didn't.
Exactly. That was, this whole ceremony, the way it was conducted, the way people were invited, and a kind of divisive line was drawn at that time. And in fact, this this event, because it was not supposed to be held even before that, but they did it to milk some political advantages in the upcoming elections. In the gear of the election, they did all these things. But despite making all these things and Modi projecting himself a kind of a divine, avatar, I think he was unable, whatever. But rather, it bounced back. Instead of getting what desired dividend, it bounced back to the Hindutva and divisive narrative which he wanted to sell.
So
in that
going
particular
on meditation just before the announcement of the results, that was also criticized by Congress. Do you think that has also blown, backfired?
Yes, what Modi, in fact, the image that was created, two aspects of that. One was a nationalist construct was created, and second one was that the Hindutva construct in terms of Modi's image was constructed. And they, in fact, with the help of mainstream media, with the help of alternative media, with the help of massive flow of money into the media houses backed by capitalists, so that image was created, in fact. But despite having all that image, it couldn't get that result from the ground, and it despite having all these things, it didn't go down well with the ground.
Dr. Rasool, what's your understanding as to what happened in Uttar Pradesh in particular, especially to that Faizabad constituency?
I have a little different opinion what Dr. Saab said, that Hindutva is intact, but actually the promises made by BJP are failed totally and entirely, particularly what they have promoted nationally and internationally. Now we are a soft power and we have huge mega clout economically, but on ground the elections had proved it is not on ground. 86 crore of the people are living below what daily requirement is. Then the divide between the general masses and the capitalist and the people who are had the helm of affairs or who have investment in the BJP, that worked. And I will say there are the 5 reasons why BJP collapsed in its stronghold to UP. Number 1, bad governance, totally, because the second man, what is called the chief minister of the UP, Aditya, failed to govern properly. Number 2, the promises made to particularly the educated youth, that has not been fulfilled. Number 3, they were saying that once the Ayodhya temple is built, and then there will be a huge development across the UP, followed by the Ayodhya mosque. That doesn't happen. Number 5th, since UP is most dense province of the entire India, carries the majority of the seats, but when you see on the ground the promises of the BJP government, that has not been proved, even a one single promise by the BJP government. And again, if you say that whether the Hindutva or Muditva, which we say the trajectory from Hindutva is the Moditva of the Modi regime. Whether it failed, I would not say no, because it has already trajectory from old people to the young people, who is the current constituency of the BJP. But actually what happened, the BJP made the clout up to the quantum that it proved itself that we are now emerging power, but that was not actually on the ground. That doesn't work, and that was a hoax that dashed in the clay. And when you are talking about the UP as in province, it is again a mega threat to BJP government. If they collapse it totally and entirely in the UP province, they will not be able to form even the government. So this is the mega indicator in entire constituencies of the India, what will be the total indicator of the voters turnover in UP as compared to the. For example, now you have results with the Bihar. Maharashtra has little tendency, even Maharashtra have little edge, this BJP government.
Trends
Again,
are being seen
yeah,
in Maharashtra also.
Yeah.
As
And
far as-
same what Modi has in the kitty, that is again the Gujarat. But definitely she had made some crossroads in the west.
Right. Let me bring in another panelist into the show, Brigadier retired Rashid Wali Janjua, senior analyst. Brigadier Janjua, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Are you surprised with the trends that are coming as the outcome of the Indian elections on the vote count day?
No, not at all. I had already spoken, I think, on your program also, and I had predicted the same. And it was very much expected, because there is a Potemkin reality of India, and that was showcased during the G20 meeting, when squalor and poverty, that was fireballed from a put-up show. And this was also a narrative-driven election in which Modi had tried his best to muzzle media, to emasculate its election commission. The rules were changed, and the Supreme Court of India did not accord a stay due to change of those rules, due to which the election commission was packed with the BJP loyalists. Then Supreme Court was also compromised. The media was bought over, and all the oligarchs that bought the media for Modi, like Adani bought NDTV, which was the last bastion of independence. The aim was to frame a new narrative that this time around we are going to win by a large margin, let's say above 400. Whereas the real conversation should have been, if INDIA alliance is going to mount a serious challenge and win, or NDA. But we have seen the exit channels yesterday. They were also, giving a totally a wrong picture. So this reality is the reality of the present governance system, and the present frustration of the masses, especially those who are below 35 years and who are suffering joblessness. The India at this point of time is suffering from an income inequality, which is of astronomical proportions. The top 1% owns 40% of the national wealth. There were 125 billionaires in 2014. Now there are 145 billionaires. People are getting poor, and a tiny clique is getting rich. And the corporate interests and the greedy politics, they have formed a symbiosis. Electoral bond scam was a big scam, and in which over 70% of the donations were given to BJP. 27,000 crore, only 7,200 crore went to Congress and all. And it was a clear pointer at the way things were going, that so much so that one of the BJP MLAs and one of the ministers refused to take part in elections. And there was a reality where there was joblessness. 34% placement ratio of Indian into the technology clearly shows what was the gap between the reality and the put-up show that was being put up.
Brigadier Janjua, I have got your point well. Now, let's talk about the performance of Indian National Congress this time around. As far as the trends are showing, alone as a party, the Indian National Congress is leading on 99 seats, which is considerably higher than as compared to the numbers back in 2019 elections. It was able to grab only 52 seats at that particular time. Firstly, do you consider it a huge and a considerable improvement in its performance? And if yes, does it owe to the only bad governance of Bharatiya Janata Party-led alliance during its past tenure and the kind of politics, the divisive politics, the politics based on hatred and division it actually carried on with? Or because of also certain promises the Indian National Congress was able to make during the election campaign this time around? Was it because of those promises that sold well with the public this time around?
Yes, Indian National Congress has made considerable gains, especially in UP and Maharashtra. And they were leading, I think their alliance was leading by 29 to 18. That was the tally. And in UP, it was 40 to 40-30. And they have made gains in West Bengal as well. They have lost a few seats in states like Karnataka. There are some gains for BJP also in the southern states. In Delhi also, BJP has made gains. The reason that you, if you want to put my finger on one reason, that is the economics-centered narrative. The BJP was hoping on whipping up the communal frenzy, and the Congress and INDIA alliance, I think they focused their discourse on inflation, high cost of living, joblessness, income inequality, and that resonated well with the population, which was groaning under the debt. You know, Indian debt is all-time high at this point of time, and these are not my figures. These are UNDP figures. Indian
Janjua, unfortunately, we are short of time. So if that resonated well with the general public, and in case because of any surprise or there are certain parties which are part of the NDA alliance break away from the NDA alliance and become part of the India alliance, and if in case Indian National Congress is able to form the government, what do you think? What suits the Indian National Congress the most at this point in time? Should it form the government if there is an opportunity, or should it sit in the opposition and wait for the next term to come and act like a strong opposition, give tougher time to BJP this time around? What suits it the most?
I think it will be a challenge for NDA alliance to retain their cohesiveness, but it will be equally difficult for INDIA given the numbers that they have got to form a stable government. I think they will be better served if they retain their cohesiveness and mount a strong opposition and continue with their narrative and keep building up their narrative and keep governing well in their states. So that option to me would redound to their advantage better than going for the par with a fractious alliance and a weak government.
Right, Brigadier Retired Rashid Wali, Janjua, senior analyst, joining us on Skype. Thank you very much for taking time out for Views on News tonight. Really appreciate that. Unfortunately, we are short of time. Dr. Awais bin Wasi, I have to end the show over here. Indian Affairs Expert, thank you very much for your time. And Dr. Waleed Rasool, Foreign Affairs Expert, thank you very much for your time also for being with us on the show tonight. We really appreciate that. With that, we come to the end of today's episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.